Okay, everyone, it is that time of every month where we get the early draft pages of the upcoming Dragon Ball Super manga chapter, Dragon Ball Super manga chapter 69, and we have the early draft pages as always, courtesy of Dragon Ball Hype. Now, guys, before we get to the video, this will cover spoilers for the upcoming chapter, so if you don't want to be spoiled at all, then I highly recommend clicking off the video. Although this is technically only the first 9 chapters, and I took a look at them, and not a lot happens. So, even if you even if you watch them, I guarantee you won't be spoiled on a lot of things. Well, there is one thing that maybe you kind of don't want to be spoiled on, but other than that, I mean, it's not even that big of a thing. But if you're not okay with spoilers at all, then I understand. Click off the video and maybe come back and watch it after you've read the chapter, which technically should be out in a week from today. So, with all that said out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at the actual draft pages. Now, we're going to be taking a look at the pages as always, and then, of course, we'll be heading on over to the actual translations courtesy of Herms, who is very well known in the Dragon Ball community for translating stuff from that are released over in Japan, since a lot of us, I'm pretty sure, can read and/or speak Japanese. So let's go ahead and take a look at the actual pages themselves. You can see the beginning of the page itself. We can see Granola's ship coming over to this planet, which we know this is actually the cereal planet for anyone who doesn't know. So this is technically Granola's home, although this is years after the events of, I'm guessing years after the events of um, what happened to his home planet, which we saw in the previous chapter. You can see he landed here, which, by the way, I like how this was drawn right here. See him going into this bubble, which is over the city. I'm guessing this is probably for protection, which of course makes sense considering what happened the last time. So we can see it landing, and then him talking to what I'm assuming is the technician. Paying him. You can see with the money he just got from the job they just did, delivering OG-73I to the Hitas, the Hita gang. And you can see he's doing a little bit of shopping and talking to the shopkeeper. And let's move on over to the next page. He leaves, and then he climbs up the mountain. Now this is where we get to something very interesting. So he remembers back when I guess the city was sort of still being built. You can see the Hida gang right there. Now I'm actually curious to as to what their involvement here is, but it seems like they did help in the reconstruction of the city. And we do, by the way, get some information on these people right here, which, by the way, are not Cerealians like Granola. We'll get to them in a minute. And you can see he looks back. Now, this is a beautiful shot right here. I mean, the one thing you got to give Toyotaro credit for is he has vastly improved his artwork. And it just absolutely phenomenal. I love it. And you can see him sort of remembering, of course, the great apes, or the shadows of the great apes destroying his... Oh, Jesus. Sorry about that. I just hit the mic by accident. You can see the shadows of the great apes destroying his city, which again I think is beautifully done by Toyotaro. And then this is interesting. This is the one that I thought that people maybe didn't want to be spoiled on, which is we get a moment between Beerus and Vegeta, a little bit of a character moment right here. If you remember from the last chapter, Beerus said that he was going to do some practice, and that Vegeta was free to watch and see if he could learn. And it seems like he was going to be, I guess, hinting at Vegeta sort of learning a technique of the gods, which is not Ultra Instinct, because we found out from Beerus in the previous chapter that Ultra Instinct was not the only technique used by the gods. And you can see they're having a bit of a conversation. Now, what they're talking about specifically, which again, we'll get to. So that is the very last of the early draft pages. Again, it's only like 9 pages, so 2, 4, 6... or I guess technically 8 pages. Usually it's like 9 pages. I don't know what. Okay, well, whatever. Doesn't matter. So let's go ahead and head on over to the actual translations. Again, courtesy of Herms. Go follow him on Twitter if you want to get these ahead of time. So according to him, Granola returns to planet Cereal. The Cerealians were wiped out 40 years ago. Okay, so it is years by Frieza and company. But Hita built a new town there, so the quote sugar people, a race who had lost their own planet, could resettle there. Now this is interesting. Of course, sugar people, which is a pun on the word sugar, which this is how you can know that this is definitely Toriyama, because he loves naming his characters, or even the race of characters, the race of people in his story. Usually they're food puns. So yeah, this is classic Toriyama right there. Granola is on friendly terms with the sugar people, but prefers to live on the on the mountain outside of town. Okay, so that was the mountain that we saw in that panel. From up there, he can see the remains of the city where he was born and always remember what Frieza and company did to his planet. This is like, yeah, see, this is the page right here where he's remembering what happened. Okay, now this is interesting. This is what apparently what's going on. This is the conversation between Beerus and Vegeta. So we cut over to this page right here, which is where we see Beerus. Meanwhile, Beerus asks Vegeta how many planets the Saiyans have destroyed. Vegeta says the Saiyans were born for combat, but only started destroying planets on a regular basis once they joined up with Frieza, which of course makes sense. And we, yeah, so that makes sense. And we did see a little bit of it in the Super Broly movie, where we saw the beginning part of it where Frieza was first introduced with the Saiyans and was told by King Cold that he was the one that's going to be in charge for now. We saw a little bit of that, although I do kind of wish we saw more of that, if I'm being honest. Like, I don't know if they're ever gonna, like, when the anime comes back, I still think they're gonna adapt the Broly movie. I know a lot of people are going to say that it's not going to happen, but I still think it's going to happen. Although I think it would be a good thing because they could expand on a lot of things that they didn't get to cover in the in the movie. You know, because we all remember like Toriyama actually wrote a 3 hour movie, but they cut a lot of it out. Even though I'm sure a lot of us would not have had a problem with a 3 hour movie. Like again, you're talking about an audience today where a movie like The Avengers, which was nearly 4 hours long, if I remember, and that is now the highest grossing movie of all time. So again, people clearly do not have a problem with a movie's runtime if it fits. Like people do not have a problem with 3 hour movies. Beerus asks if he's trying to blame all the Saiyans' sins on Frieza, but Vegeta says he's not. King Vegeta started off in his quest for authority, and this ultimately led to the Saiyans' destruction. Now, this is very, very interesting. So this is an interesting comment from Vegeta, which is he sort of like accepted that like it was technically like, yeah, the Frieza, he is the one who sort of got them to destroying planets, but like King Vegeta is not completely clean on this. Like he's not guilt free on this. Like he, and I'm guessing a lot of his people were, you know, with him on his greed for, you know, when he wanted his to when he just wanted to own more, like his quest for power, I guess you could call it, or authority, as Vegeta says it. And so I guess, and then moving forward, so if Beerus asks him, so it was the Saiyans' fate to be destroyed. Beerus finds the idea stupid. Vegeta is puzzled. Beerus said he was going to show him a God of Destruction's technique or techniques. So what's that have to do with the Saiyans' past? Beerus says it's deeply related. Okay, so that ends pretty much the conversation between Beerus and Vegeta. Now, this to me is very, very interesting, and I just want to address this for a bit. You know, I've seen a lot of people, like they talk about how Vegeta, oh, this is going to be interesting because Vegeta is going to learn a technique, like a God of Destruction technique, and Goku's going to focus on learning like an angel's techniques. But and that sort of separates them. But I think a lot of people forget, like, did a lot of people forget that in the Future Trunks arc, Goku used the Hakai? Like Goku already knows how to use one of the God of Destruction's techniques. I mean, yeah, he hasn't fully mastered it, and it completely drains him of his energy, like all of it. But he knows how to use it, and he almost used it against Zamasu. So, I mean, it's not like Goku doesn't know how to use a God of Destruction's technique. So I'm wondering, like, I don't think this is going to be the Hakai technique. I'm just wondering, like, what exactly is he going to teach him? Like, what exactly is Beerus doing here? Again, I'm curious to see where this leads. We'll see. And he says also, that's it for now. And he says backing up a bit. Now, when backing up a bit, he means to this place right here, this page over here. Backing up a bit, per his conversation with the shopkeeper, it seems Granola lives on the mountain with someone called Gramps, who's over 500 years old. Now, I wonder where we've heard the name Gramps before. He has a bad leg, but is otherwise fine. His race is long-lived, Granola says. Now, okay, he says his race is long-lived, almost like he's not a member of the sugar people. And he even comments, I'm sure a lot of people are going to wonder. So, Granola's comment that Gramps' race is long lived makes it sound like he's not another Cerealee, and maybe it's Oatmeal, but Oatmeal has to ask Granola about Planet Cereal's backstory, so that doesn't seem likely. That is indeed true. So, I guess if there's anyone who's wondering if maybe, oh, he was talking about Oatmeal, maybe we're finally going to see him, it doesn't seem like that's the case. I mean, not that we're not going to see him, I'm sure we're going to see him eventually, but I don't think he's the guy Granola is living with. And then next he says, at the very start, Granola asked the sugar technician to fix the left wing of his plane damaged in an attack. He'll be taking a break from work for a while so they can take their time fixing it. Again, this is very interesting. Again, reminds you a lot of Star Wars, which again makes sense because Toriyama was as we all know. I think I remember hearing this. That he was influenced by, or he's a big fan of Western films. I mean, we know Terminator is one of them because, if you saw early Dragon Ball, then you know what I'm talking about when I say he was a fan of Terminator. You know what I'm talking about. I don't have to say it here. Later, the sugar shopkeeper asks why Granola and Gramps don't just live in town. The sugar people would be happy to have him. The shopkeeper also gives him an extra bottle for free. Clearly, Granola is popular, and he's referring to this page over here. So this shopkeeper giving him an extra bottle for free. There it is. And he goes on to say some interesting things, which I don't know if anyone's interested in, but sure, let's see it. Anyway, and this is basically his translation on what's being written on the page, where he got the sugar people, which again is a pun on the English word sugar, and he said basically goes on to say like how it was written and where they got the pun, and how they took the word AR and left it with A, just like how they did with freezer and how we call him Frieza. Just a little bit of a lesson when it comes to Japanese writing. And he goes on to say, I think he corrects himself and says the chapter title is Succession of Planet Cereal, not the Cerealians as he originally says. And he says, sorry, that's what I get for typing too fast. Anyhow, the title presumably refers to how Planet Cereal has been passed on to these sugar people. And that is it. That is all, guys. As always, thank you so much for joining me. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. As I said, not a lot happens technically, although we do learn some interesting things. We learned what happened to Planet Cereal. We learned where Granola is right now. We got to see an interesting scene between Beerus and Vegeta. Now, a lot of people are probably going to assume like, hey, is there any chance that Vegeta's finally going to learn that Beerus, approved the destruction of Planet Vegeta? Which I know Vegeta himself doesn't really care about his people. He doesn't really care about his planet. If anything, he even says to Frieza, like, one of the reasons why he was pissed at him for destroying Planet Vegeta isn't because he destroyed his home. It's not because he destroyed his people. It's because he took away like his chance to rule. Like, that's the thing that he was mostly pissed off at. Like, he wasn't pissed off at the fact that his people are gone. I think he's kind of made that clear multiple times. Like, he does not give a shit. Because here's the thing, he had a chance so many times to bring his people back. Like, he could have gone to Namek, gone to Dragon Balls, and brought his people back, brought his planet back. But like, here's the thing, it's true. Like, Vegeta just does not care, and Planet Vegeta isn't his home anymore. Earth is his home. Like, that's the planet he cares about. His family's there. So I think that even if Beerus reveals that he technically approved of it, although Frieza was gonna do it anyway. Like, if Frieza just like I think he's both evil and stupid, because even if Beerus were to tell him no, you're not allowed to do it, like, he still would have done it. He's just that much of a bitch, if I'm being honest. Like, even when he's under the threat of death from someone who was clearly a lot stronger than him and could wipe him out in an instant, doesn't matter to him, because he's that up his own ass. That's who Frieza is. Anyway, I think that's all I have to say, guys. As always, if you like the video, please like and share the video, and of course leave a comment as always with your thoughts, because I want to know what you guys think, as always, from what we talk about in these videos. And please consider subscribing, guys, because I do check the analytics, and I know a lot of you who watch my videos are not subscribed. So if you want to change that, if you want to It's not going to cost you anything, and it's going to go a long way in supporting the channel. So please consider hitting that subscribe button, and of course clicking on the bell icon, because that will notify you whenever I post a new video. That is all I have to say. Thank you so much, and please join me for the next one, which I'm hoping will be the cover, which will hopefully be me covering the full chapter spoilers, and as always the actual chapter when it comes out. So that's all I have to say. Thank you so much again, and join me for the next video as always. Bye for now.